Breaking news in the NBA, Danny Ainge back in an NBA front office. It did not take long. He is now with the Utah Jazz. They've hired the former Celtics executive as alternate governor and CEO. He will oversee basketball operations after spending 18 years running the Celtics, winning one championship back in 2008. Of course, he was executive of the year, that Kevin Garnett-led team, a big trade that they made to get that big three together, and then stepped down from his position recently. Let's bring in our NBA insider, Bill Reiter. Bill, this was kind of rumored to be maybe coming down the pipe because he was living in Utah, was Danny Ainge. Why did Utah decide to make this move?
Yeah, Chris, you said it. Several reasons. I mean, you just hit on one of them. This is a widely respected basketball operations, really legend in the NBA. Everyone figured he'd land somewhere. He is very good friends with the relatively new owner of the Utah Jazz and Ryan Smith. We had Dennis Lindsey, who ran basketball operations until this past summer, moved to a consultant role, which raised a lot of eyebrows. As you said, Danny Ainge, living in Utah, played his college basketball in Utah. All signs, and several of the folks that I and other NBA insiders talked to around the NBA the last few months suggested this was eventually going to happen. I don't know that we knew he was going to get the massive title that he got. I mean, being one of the two folks who can go as a member of the Board of Governors is a big deal, but in terms of running basketball operations, this was certainly expected.
Look, this isn't any kind of a rebuild, as you know. I mean, the Jazz are sitting there with a 7-game winning streak. They're 19-7. They've been at the top or near the top of the Western Conference for several years now. What does this mean for, personnel, player-wise, transaction-wise for the Jazz moving forward the rest of this season, you think?
It's a great question. It's the big question. You said it out. Other than breaking through in the postseason, this is as complete a basketball team as you might find in the NBA. They're the only team right now in the association in the top 5 in offensive and defensive rating. They're very well constructed. And so the big questions I'm hearing just texting folks is exactly what you just asked. And I don't know the answer. What does it mean for Quinn Snyder, who's very highly regarded? The presumption is that he'll be there for a long time. What does it mean for what the next moves are? This is a team that, again, is very, very well constructed. What I've heard back from a few folks, Chris, and it's speculation, is that Danny Ainge simply is going to try to maintain where they're at and think more long-term. But it's not every day that someone takes over basketball operations in the middle of a season for an organization that's one of the 2 or 3 or 4 best teams in the league.
But it is Danny Ainge running basketball operations now for the Utah Jazz. The team has announced that. Our Bill Reiter with us here on CBS Sports HQ reacting to the news. Utah is near the top of the Western Conference once again this season, 19-7. They've got that 7-game winning streak sitting in the 3rd spot, 3 games behind the Warriors for that top spot in the West.